Please join in the singing of our national anthem. Representing the three-time Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils, Arlette.
I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Happy Devil Sunday. That's my fake voice. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Prime Time Radio Network. The title is The Devil's Weekend in Hell. It was so bad that Beer Baron and Scotty took the night off.
Yeah, and now we're here.
They just took the night off. No, I'm just kidding. They had previously scheduled scheduling conflicts, birthday parties, and more birthday parties. So here we are stuck with you, the Devils fans, wondering what the heck happened to the Devils, not only the last 3 games, but really the last 10 years. And Short Sky, I just want to let the fans know we're aware Optimum Internet is not working. We trash companies we don't like that hurt our podcast. So Optimum, owned by the Rangers, surprise, surprise, lackluster performance with the internet, but that's okay. We're doing our best. You look pretty good right now.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, we got Chico Resch coming up in 10 minutes. We had a call on Chico. It had to have been done.
I actually haven't spoken to Chico in a long time, so it'll be nice to talk to him, get his listen to him on the radio the last 2 days. So I heard his color commentary the last 2 days.
Yeah,
nice
you know what? He's a busy guy. He just called 3 games in the last 4 days, and after this debacle, he's coming on at 9:15 p.m. and we got a lot to talk about Chico, because I think last Saturday, just the fans were extremely disappointed. It was almost that WTF question mark moment when the Devils switched the goal song and everyone looked at each other strangely. The same thing happened Saturday matinee game in front of kids that probably have seen their first hockey game in a long time or ever on Nickelodeon weekend, and the Devils really just, well, they lost.
Yeah, in spectacular fashion yesterday.
Yeah, I mean today, Jack Hughes, no news. Probably they're gonna, I would assume, get an MRI, get him checked out tomorrow morning.
Yep.
And you try to tough it out, but that's not good. That didn't
No,
look
and
good at all.
probably no rush to come back either. There's no. We want to see him in the ice again. Let's not, make any bones about that. But there's probably no rush to get him back in the ice with what's left of this season. It's only, we only have a couple weeks left till the beginning of May or end of April, whatever the last game is. So we'll see. We'll see if we see him back in the ice. Hopefully it's nothing too serious and he can be back, relatively quickly. That would be really nice.
Yeah,
But we'll
that's
see.
what I'm hoping
We'll
for. But
see.
I'm also hoping for they shut him down the rest of the season so they don't have to risk him
Yeah.
for next year. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. It's that I'm sure that option's there if he's gonna be out 3 weeks. What's the point of maybe the last home game of the season have him come for a skate out, but it wouldn't shock me if they came out and said, yeah, well, Jack's shut down for the season, which would be a bummer
Yeah.
because he's really found his groove in the last couple of weeks. Like he's been scoring consistently, which is everything that we wanted to see, but see him get hurt like this is like, oh man, another injury. I really hope this does not become like the pattern with him getting hurt, regularly.
Well, I posed that question um, on Devils After Dark,
Mm-hmm.
and I know if I ever wrote a blog on it, I'd probably get killed. But is Jack Hughes injury prone? There's
Yeah.
there's no way to real. I mean, believe it or not, a buddy of mine um, is an analytics guru, a
Mm-hmm.
real analytics guru, and he did actually formulate something years ago about predicting longevity of players being drafted in the draft. So
Mm-hmm.
again, I don't know what you know goes into that, but I thought that was pretty cool that he actually did something like that.
Yeah, which that is an interesting stat. There's analytics and stats and everything now, and he is the one good thing about Jack, and they were talking about it on I think Matt and Chico were talking about it yesterday. He is getting bigger and stronger, which will hopefully cut down on injuries. But something like a knee, eh, if that's what it is, because it's something with his leg, I believe. I read the article. Um, something like a knee. It's you can't. There's no muscle that you can work out to make to prevent injuries from a knee. To a knee, I should say.
Well, Jerry says on the Facebook Live, this team needs size and grit up front in the worst way. I've been
Hmm.
talking about it all the time about beef. Beef
Yeah,
is
you've been
good.
talking about it since last year.
Yeah, and I've been eating it too. It's like you need beef. If you need fat guys in football, like an offensive line and defensive line, you need fat guys. The Devils,
Hmm.
they need beef. And but I do see some improvements. Look, say what you want about PK Subban. Was it a clean hit? Uh, Looked like it was a clean hit, but the optics looked a little off in slow motion. But it was
Hmm.
generally a clean hit in real time. But I don't have a problem with PK Subban sticking up,
No,
for
nor
Jack
do
Hughes,
I.
because if you don't stick up for him, whether it's a clean hit or not, they're going to hit him even more. That's what they do.
Yeah,
And I'd rather not see a Jack Hughes in his rookie season where he gets knocked around and nobody does anything.
yeah, yeah. No. I totally agree. The fact that PK stood up for Jack, got booted from the game, but that's someone that's sticking up for a teammate. So that shows me there that I know we spoke about it on the pregame. Maybe the coaching staff has lost the room, but the team is still fighting for each other, and that's what you want to see. You want to see the team fight for each other.
Yeah.
So that's a big positive. for as crappy as this season is turned into, when you have guys that are willing to stick up for each other like that, that means that there is a cohesiveness in the locker room. But then that brings up more questions than like why the hell do they play so bad? Like why the hell do they let 4-goal leads in the third period disappear? Stuff like that. It just brings in even more confusion.
Yeah, and I'm going to bring some positivity and some realistic analysis. I'm going to go get Chico right now, Shorts guy.
Okay.
So I'm going to full screen you on your wonderful optimum speed. So why don't you
Yeah.
talk
Here's hoping I don't freeze.
yeah, why don't you talk to, maybe we should just forewarn people. Shorts guy has
Just in
optimum
case.
internet. So if he
Not a
freezes,
sponsor
we'll
of the
be right back.
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Right.
don't sponsor us. Now, if they gave you money and good internet, then we'd be bragging about them all the time, and you suckers
Oh
would be
yeah.
buying their bad service. But it doesn't work
Oh,
like that because
absolutely.
they don't sponsor us
No.
right
Here's
now.
hoping it's. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. All right,
Oh
so let me
man.
get Chico. I'll be right back.
All right. So while Sam is getting Chico, it's really no secret that this has been a terrible week, and probably one of the worst weeks in for the entire season with the Devils this week. The debacle in Boston. Sammy and I were talking about it pregame. That debacle in Boston was just a bad game all around. Yesterday, I think, was much worse than the loss in Boston. The loss in Boston you can just chalk up to, like, I don't know. Everyone had a bad game all at the same time, and it was just a disaster. But yesterday, there should be no excuse for losing a 4-goal lead in the third period. It shows that there's bigger problems with the team. That there's a lot going on. That they can't figure out what to do, and that they just blowing a 4-goal lead is terrible. That shows a lot of downside about this team. And today, it was odd today to hear, since I was listening on the radio, to hear Corey Snyder and net getting his first win in over 2 years against us. With Lou in the building, with Palmieri back, it seemed so odd today. It's been a rough week. Now we have the Rangers coming up this week. Here's hoping that we can replicate what we did to the Rangers about a week ago or so. Maybe get you know, a little bit of a pop from maybe a good game against the Rangers. Maybe we can pull off again. But with the way that they're playing right now, it's not feeling like that's a possibility. So here's hoping that they can do that. We'll see this week. It'll definitely be interesting. Um, Goaltending is definitely going to be a problem. It's definitely a problem that needs to be fixed. So I don't know. I feel like I'm going on and on and on. Sammy, there you go. I felt like I was reaching the
Sorry,
end
I
of
was.
my. Yeah, no, I felt like I was getting to the end of my one-man monologue. I don't know how Scotty does it sometimes when he goes in Devils After Dark on his own.
Yeah,
I give him credit for
or
that, but then again,
or the
he's a
Woo
professional
Report as
radio
well.
guy. Oh yeah, well yeah, you on the Woo Report too, daily.
Yeah,
I don't know if did you hear everything I was saying or no?
no, not at all. I was just getting Chico
Okay,
set up. Yeah.
I was
So
I was just
all
basically
right,
going on and on about the week that was. So
all right. So as promised, and we thank him so much for his time. He's worked the last 3 out of the last 4 days covering this Devils team. You know him as Chico Resch on Devils Hockey Network. Chico, you're on with Sam and Jonathan. How are you tonight?
Well, like I think I didn't hear Jonathan's monologue, but I'm sure if he was talking about the last 3 games, he's a little bit bewildered. What can I say? Bewildered, shocked, frustrated. It was just 3 games of totally different scenarios, but they were all losses, and it just left you wondering, really, what is going wrong? And I know it was something different each game, but as fans, we keep hoping and thinking some of these mistakes or some of these breakdowns or just poor play, whatever, goaltending not being up to an NHL standard, it's going to end. But unfortunately, it just has continued through these 3 games, and I'm sure Jonathan voiced his frustration with it, as we all are, and Devils are just going to have to push on. Is all we can ask them to do.
Chico, it's Jonathan. You basically nailed it. That's exactly what I was talking about. Just the last 3 games, just what they were, and I don't know. In my opinion, I think out of the 3 losses, yesterday's was probably the most frustrating, with a 4-0 or with a 4-goal lead going into the third, and then blowing it in the third period. Basically, that's just my opinion on that. The last 3 basically is yesterday was the worst.
You're right, Jonathan, but they were a little bit all different to me. On Thursday night, I mean, every Devil made a mistake right from the goaltending on out. Fairly egregious mistakes that you even like Mikey McLeod, who got benched today because he's just not playing well. He hasn't scored in forever. He was like 2 for 7 or 9 on the face-offs against Florida. I mean, he made a couple mistakes where I'm thinking, Mikey, that's not you. Nico Hischier turned the puck over. Damon Severson couldn't play a 2-on-1. I mean, it was just a litany of mistakes. And I think Lindy Ruff said it best, where he said, we were all in on this loss. And that was true. Going fast forward to yesterday, as hard as it is for me, I was really pulling for Andrew Hammond. I tell you, he's 28. He's trying to reestablish his career. He knows that this is a big game. This is a chance. They're 3-0 coming out of Montreal. Devils are looking for a goalie that maybe, if not, well, I'm sure for the rest of this year, if you're hot, you'll get to play the rest of the year. But even for next year, and he played pretty well for 2 periods. But then in the third period, I can't fault him on the 1 goal, and maybe even the second. But the last 3 goals were just routine shots to his glove. And I don't know what happened. I mean, I watched his body language. I know he was just beside himself. He was just agonizing more than even the fans. And the only thing I can say, guys, is I watched him from the 10-minute mark. He go to the bench, and you can imagine he hasn't played for a long time. He's been out with an injury, and then, he hasn't had a game. And the first 2 periods, well, that wasn't really stretching him. But in the third period, not only did Florida end up with 24 shots on goal, but they're passing from one side to the other, down low, back high. I mean, even if you're not making saves, you got to work and push and expend energy. So when I saw him go over to the bench in the third period there, halfway through, he didn't just get a bottle of water or even like a Gatorade. He had this little tiny bottle of energy drink. And I saw him suck that down, and I just thought, oh, boy, I can't imagine how fatigue is attacking him now. So I will say this, not that I know, but I would have loved to have asked him, those last 5 minutes where you just really, he would be shocked and disappointed that those 3 shots went in on him. They were all really kind of routine. But was he tired? Was he, you know what I mean? I just don't know, because it was so shocking. And I felt terrible for him. But in that loss, I will be tough on players. I don't care their age. I don't care their experience. If they have played well and they start making bonehead decisions or just not competing, I'm going to call it. But in that game yesterday, I really couldn't fault much of the skaters. Oh, yeah, they could have done this and that a little bit different. But really, the Devils just needed a goalie to come up with some big saves in the last, say, 5 minutes. And unfortunately, Andrew, as hard as he must have been trying, he just couldn't get those last 3 shots. And so that one, I just really have to say, well, it was goaltending. And then today, it was a completely different situation. I knew the Islanders, as you guys did. They were hot. They were shutting out the Rangers, which we all loved, and they were on a roll. And then you see, Corey Schneider's playing goal. Zach Parise up on the second line, and you got Cal Palmieri. So there was a lot of interesting things going on, but because the Islanders had started to play their style of game, meaning not giving teams much, like they shut out the Rangers, not giving much, waiting for opportunities, breakdowns by the other team, I thought, boy, I hope the Devils start by not just making like bad decision passes or too soft passes. And I'll get through this here in a minute. I'm just about done. But so then I see it's 0-0, and I see Dougie Hamilton coming up to the neutral zone. Remember, he's a right-handed shot, meaning the puck's to the right of his body. On his left side is Sharangovich, all open. Pass it to him, Dougie. He gets just about to the blue line. He doesn't pass it to his left. He instead takes it on his backhand and tries to do a backhand pass to I don't know who. There were so many players. There were some Devils, but there were Islanders. They got it, chipped it by him. All the Devils were caught except for Siegenthaler. And then, a terrific play. Page gets the breakaway, and they score. And I'm thinking, Dougie, that's just what we didn't want. You just have to manage the puck. We've heard about it, and you're a veteran. Anyway, but, that could happen. And then lastly, it's on the penalty kill in the first period, and Jonathan Siegenthaler's played really well. He's slipping a little bit lately, making more mistakes, and so he's got the puck. If you're looking at the Devils net, he's got the puck in the corner on the left. He's got three of his teammates along the boards with him. That means they've only got four because they're shorthanded. I don't think you want to go towards the middle of the ice with a pass. He should have either hung on to it and just said, if you want this puck, you got to come and take it off me. I'm not giving it to you. But he tries to make a really dangerous pass to Sharangovich, and he misses him. And was it Anders Lee or Brock Nelson? Brock Nelson had gone back to the bench to get a stick, and as he comes into the zone, the errant pass goes right on his stick. He goes in, partial breakaway, makes a shot, and hits the stick and goes over to Page, and it's a layup goal. My point is, there again, Jonas, I'm sure you talked about it. Play it safe there. Don't, you're man short. Don't try to, if you're going to make risky plays, guys, if the teams continue to make risky plays, you're going to lose. It's not like you might lose. You won't lose every game, but you will not ever become real consistent. And so that was my biggest frustration today, that the first two goals the Islanders got were just not smart plays, and and that kind of turned the game around.
Yeah, and I get getting back to Dougie Hamilton on that play, Chico, on the way back, I forgot who scored, but no back checking, nothing. He just flew right by him. When you got to get back in that situation.
But remember this, Sam. Here's why they can't. Dougie Hamilton has the puck. He's got control. Devils are on the attack. Sharangovich is going forward. I don't know if Jack Hughes was on there or if it was Mercer or whoever. You're going forward on the attack. That's why when they say you turn the puck over at the other team's blue line, why it's so dangerous, all your players' momentum are going towards the Islander goal. By the time you turn to get back, and the Islander defenseman who got it made a quick up, you can't back check. That's why the coaches say, don't give them a chance to counter when they catch us going in the wrong direction. And that's been around the hockey forever. And Dougie knows those laws, but yet he could have made such an easy pass to the left. And when I say that, that's not the whole game. But, sometimes we generalize, and I'm more of a specific, detailed guy. And he's a veteran. He's supposed to be a leader. And I know they talked about, look at guys, let's be real safe in this first period. Let's not let the Devils, the Islanders, get a puck, turn over, and counter. Well, they did it twice, and they got scored on. And that's a mistake. So I can't absolve Doug on that one, because if you looked at the highlight right now, you would see on the left side in front of the Panthers bench, Sharon Govich is all alone. And that's Dougie. He's being a right-handed shot. It's just a simple pass there. But why he elected to go the other side, I don't know.
Chico, I'm constantly amazed at your memory for how these plays develop and unfold. I'm always amazed at that. So it's always great to listen to you. But I was listening to you and Matt yesterday and a little bit today, and exactly what you said before about Hammond yesterday, and everything was, I would totally agree with you. And you and I have both played the position of goaltending. When your first game back after a long layoff, if you're not there, if you get tired, you just start dazing off a little bit mentally, and then that's when those odd goals come in. It's I don't know.
Well,
It's been a frustrating week.
Jonathan, well, it has.
Anyway,
But
go ahead.
what happens too when you're tired as a goalie? You then start to cut some corners, like the two short side goals to Barkov. When you're tired, you're not sure. Okay, I got to conserve my energy. Do I go hard over there because he's going to shoot? But if he doesn't shoot, I've gone hard over there. Now I got to turn and go back hard there. You start, I don't want to say guessing, but you start anticipating which is the most dangerous scenario. And I think that's what maybe happened. I don't know. But I think when you're tired, you don't play every play like, okay, I got to respect this play totally, because you got the energy to do that. And if you have to go there, I got the energy to go there. And I think that's kind of what happened with Andrew. But like I say, yesterday was just on the goalie. The other two losses were on the skaters, as well as I didn't like Paul Mary's game-winning goal today. I'll say it again. Jonathan, you were a goalie. I looked at it before I came home. Kyle Palmieri comes in on the left side. He cuts across the top of the circle. He is one Islander against three Devils, two defensemen, one back checker. You look at it. What can he do with the puck? Probably only shoot it. He's not going to deke through them. I'm thinking, and I look, and I like Nico Dawes, but I look, you guys, if it's me or you, Jonathan, I would say, I'm getting outside the crease a step or two. There's no backdoor play. He's not going to pass it. He's just going to shoot it. I'm going to cut down as much of the net as possible. But if you look at the highlights, his skates, and when he goes down in this butterfly, both pads are in the blue. I'm thinking, why didn't he come out? Why didn't he challenge?
Challenge more. Yeah.
If there's,
Yeah, no, you're right. Challenge more.
You know what I mean?
That's my first thought. Yeah.
Yeah. If there's a guy with Paul Mary that he might pass across back and have a backdoor play or another play, there is only one situation that can occur, and that's Kyle Palmieri shooting from out near the top of the circle. And again, I don't know why Nico Dawes doesn't challenge more. I've seen this for a while, but I've seen goalies do it with Ovechkin. Ovechkin's going to shoot it high over your shoulders. He's not a deker. You look how few goals he's gotten on dekes. Get out a step or even two on him. But you tell me why don't NHL professional players make the plays that we all think they should be capable of? I don't know.
I don't know. That's the giant mystery. Like, I know personally when I play against a buddy of mine, when I play against a buddy of mine, I know when he comes down on his own, and Sam knows this guy, our friend Hef. I know when he's coming down with the puck, he's going to do one thing. He's going to shoot, and he's going to just wind up. And as soon as he winds up, I step out, and it hits me. Just because I know that's exactly what he's going to do. I don't know. You're right. Like, sometimes it's like these are, Sammy and I talked about it pregame. Some of these are just, they're basic hockey plays, and you look at it, you're like, what
Yeah,
What's the disconnect? What's the disconnect that you're going to make? And like you mentioned earlier, why are you going to make that difficult play when you have a simpler play that's at your
I
disposal, but you're
know.
choosing not to do it? It's especially in a string of games like this. My thought would be simplify your game and just try to go for what works. In this type
Yeah,
of losing streak, that makes sense to me.
well, it makes perfect sense, and that's why Marty St. Louis, who we saw last week, and now we're going to see the Montreal Canadiens again. He and
Hmm.
I talked to Pitlick, Rem Pitlick, one of his players, and another player. And what he's trying to tell them is, listen, I don't want you to be robotic. I don't want you to
Hmm.
just, well, obviously, like you said, Jonathan, you want to make a simple play. But he says, I want you to think and read the plays. So what I'm saying is, on Dougie Hamilton, he's coming up, and you look at it, he's got time to, move his eyes and look both sides. You will see Sharon Govich wide open over there. I'm thinking, pass it to him. That's a simple play. That's an easy play. No chance of the pass getting picked off. But instead, he continues on and goes into traffic and then tries to backhand it. Same thing with Nico Dawes. Nico, Kyle Palmieri gets the puck outside the blue line. You got a moment to look. Okay, does he have anybody with him? Is there anybody flying down the wing that he could pass to? Would there be any other scenario other than 95% of the percentage of this play is going to be he's going to shoot? And it's just
Hmm.
like what you just described, Jonathan. If that's the play, get out. Get out. There's three guys on Kyle Palmieri. Three players. And you're going to let him beat you from outside the top of the circle? I'm not just dumping on the kid. The kid's going to be a terrific goalie. But,
Oh yeah.
you've played, I don't know, he played 15, 20 games. Hey, it's time to, step up. And I'm
Yeah.
finding that he playing deep and he's getting beat. So what's the purpose of playing deep? I don't know.
Well, and what's good about that is you can teach a goalie to play more aggressively. So it's nothing that he can't figure out and pick up. So that's to me that's something
Right?
that's improvable. They just got to work with him
Yes.
on making sure that you're at the top of the crease more often. So that's a positive. That's a mistake that can be corrected. So that's the one thing I'm trying
Right.
to take from that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, guys, this is why I have. Don't get me wrong. I get fans. They can complain and criticize and have all their own theories of what should change. But trust me, no coach is coaching the Devils to make these mistakes. Like,
Hmm.
if you're a coach of, I'm not. Well, it's just because he did make the critical first mistake. But Dougie Hamilton, no coach would think that Dougie Hamilton would pass up an easy, straight, non risky pass to the left winger rather than take it into traffic and then try to go to the backhand and flip it on his backhand into a bunch of players. Right? It's just not logical. So,
Hmm.
some people will criticize the coach. I'm thinking it's not on the coach. It's on especially a veteran player to be a leader by making, the right decisions. But okay, if we can, let's go to the Jack Hughes injury
I was
and
going to
the
get into that because that's
huh?
everybody's asking about that on our social media
Okay,
channels.
okay. Look, if I can say this, I'll ask you guys. First of all, on the hit, and I watched it. I watched it 10, 12 times. Did you think it was a cheap shot at all by Wallstrom? Did you think that was a stretch out of the leg and the knee, and he was trying to catch him with his knee, or was it just a hockey hit?
Chico, I'm going to answer this first.
Yeah.
In real time, it looked very clean. On the replay, it's sometimes an optical illusion. It looks not so clean. If you look on the replay in slow motion, you look at Wallstrom's eyes, he was already locked in, and I think at the last second, I think he may have let up just a tad. But I don't think the knee on knee thing may have been more of a coincidental thing. But I'm not really sure. It's a very gray area. I can't say either way.
No, that's a great analogy. And that's exactly what happened. And here's a little bit of the problem, and this isn't anybody's fault, but when Jack got hurt earlier this year on his shoulder, he jumped when the guy, I forget who we were playing, it might have been Seattle, I don't know.
Yep.
He jumped, he got lifted up, and then he came down on his shoulder. If you look on this play again, Jack's coming down, and Wallstrom, who's not really, a physical player, is kind of catching Jack with his head down. And Jack does what a lighter skater would do. Jack's going to try to jump a little bit back onto the inside and avoid the check. And so those two things came together, and it didn't work out for Jack. But Wallstrom, as you said, in regular time, I didn't see it as a penalty. Even when I watched the replay, I said, did Wallstrom angle his knee a little bit? Because he's sensing Jack's going to try to jump by me, and with his left leg, he started to turn in. And yes, then his knee did move. But, okay, so let's just say you couldn't really say it was a nasty or dirty check, but it was something that hurt, the Devils' best player. So then let's move ahead. PK Subban. Are most of the people listening, and you two included, were you in favor, or did you think that was a warranted move by PK?
I'm all for sticking up for your teammates. Jack wound up getting hurt from that Wallstrom hit. And you have to have someone stand up for your stars like Jack, and I'm okay with him stepping up for that. I don't see an issue with what PK did, because that tells me that the guys in the room want to not just physically drop the gloves and fight for each other, but are willing to fight for each other on the ice, and have some cohesiveness as a team. So that's the positive I pull out of that one is it's just they're playing for each other at this point, and that PK was just sticking up for Jack, and I'm okay with that.
Okay, I like that. What about you, Sam?
I'm in agreement with Jonathan that Jack's rookie season, there were numerous occasions in the first 20 games he got knocked around and there was actually no response from the rest of the team. And I think it's a deterrent to some extent what PK did, clean hit or not. It just sends a message. It's not like PK, permanently injured Wallstrom after that play, but it's just to send a reminder to the league as well that, again, PK only had a couple seconds to process and assess the situation, but it was nice to stand up for one of your marquee players and marquee players of the league. I'm all for that. Sometimes I think what I'm not for are stage fighting in the game. This was within context, and this was just, okay, and then it was done. He got his penalties. He was kicked out of the game essentially, and you move on from it. It was just, it was clean and simple. That's my thought on it, because there are debates about getting that out of the game.
I like what you guys are saying, but let's I want to be a devil's advocate here. Stage fighting, Sam. There's not much of that. That was staged in the sense that PK went and basically attacked Wallstrom, who didn't know it was coming. Okay, but I'm with you guys. That I'm okay with that, as long as you guys and the Devils fans will be okay if somebody like, let's say, Nico Hischier, or let's just say somebody, because Wallstrom's He's not a physical player. He's not a dirty player. Nico Hischier makes a clean hit on an opposing player, and then one of the other players on that team goes and jumps Nico. Then you also have to say that's okay. What I have trouble with now, and I think it's a gray area that fans in general are having trouble with. If you say it's okay for your side to do it, do not go and crazy when the other team does it to one of your players who's not a fighter, but he maybe accidentally hit somebody and whatever. I'm okay with that. That is hockey. I often think of Panarin. You know, all the Washington Capitals fans thought Tommy Wilson didn't do anything wrong when he threw Panarin around and all that. Well, all the Ranger fans and the Ranger writers, he should have been. I'm saying Panarin jumped on his back. If you're going to jump on Tommy Wilson's back, it's like jumping on a bear. Get ready to throw around. My point is, I'm even okay if the view is clouded by by your loyalty to one team or another. What I have trouble with is then people go on the internet, and if their side was the one that was wronged or their player was jumped, they go on about the NHL, it's hockey, it's da-da-da-da-da. Just no, it's, you know what I'm saying? I like you. I think it should be part of hockey, but I don't want people complaining when it's done to their team that then, the NHL's got to clean it up. The NHL, because Jack Hughes, PK Subban jumping on Wallstrom will not stop Jack Hughes from getting hit. Like, we got to understand, you can't deter opposition players from hitting Jack Hughes, especially, I hope not anyway, especially if we get in the playoffs and Jack Hughes is a key component to beating the other team. That team is going to say, hey, if you get a chance and you get a good lick on Jack Hughes, you throw it. So it's not going to be a deterrent in a big sense, but I think what you guys are saying, and I agree, it appears that the team is sticking up for each other, which I think is something, in this world that we need to do more of if it's warranted. Let's defend each other. Let's back each other up. So anyway, it was, I had no problem with what PK did either. But I also say Wallstrom, I think he was mad. He was yelling. I don't think he really realized why he got jumped, because he didn't feel like he cheap shotted Jack at all. And I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't think he did either. And getting back to your point, if you remember Scott Stevens, I remember this very well when he hit Shane Willis in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of the game, he said, "I played to the last second, to the whistle. The game is over," and he paid the price for that, because the games 3 and 4 and 5, I guess, against Carolina, they laid so many hits on Scott Stevens whenever they could, and he fought back. You should expect that. When you even though that was a very clean hit, at that time period, but you should expect the team to stick up for their teammate.
Exactly, Sam. And back then, people did expect it. It's now where it's gotten so cloudy. Like, I don't know, like someone said, you shouldn't. Like, if PK had went and sucker punched him with his glove on, say, I wouldn't have liked that. I don't want you sucker punching someone in the head or across there. His one big punch, we saw it on slow motion, was a body punch on Wallstrom. Come on, everyone. Like, what do we want? If you don't want this to be the culture of hockey, that, like you said, Sam and Jonathan, that you stick up for each other, there is a bit of a retribution. There's, payback. If we don't want that in hockey, okay, but let's not pretend that we do. And then when it happens, we all go crazy criticizing it because, it occurred against our team. No, just it's to me, it's the integrity or the gritty difference in hockey. yeah, we have fighting. No other sport allows that, but it's not like the old fighting where, remember, in a fight now, and somebody on the air talked about, head trauma and stuff. I've seen fights. You know what? Most punches to the head are hitting a shield or a helmet. It's not like in the old days when these guys didn't have helmets on and their skull was being rocked with a punch. So again,
Yeah.
like, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you about and kind of laughing, thinking about those, those old time fights where it was just fist to
think
skull
about
over and over.
Andreas Janssen. Andreas Janssen taking off his helmet. Okay, fight's over. When he took off his helmet, it's very different nowadays. The game is played, but the fact of the matter is, players are bigger and stronger, and so well trained right now. But the brain never got stronger. The brain's still the same, and and I think it's kind of evolved that way to protect the players better.
And they do.
Yeah,
Sam, they do. Like, I'll tell you, the one biggest thing is, and Sidney Crosby got a concussion, a jar. Like, you don't see big hits anymore, right? You don't. Like Scott Stevens hitting you in the chest and your head just, getting whiplash back. I'm just saying, there's still got to be some risk. We can't homogenize the game of hockey. So, oh yeah, it's a physical game and it's gritty, but nobody ever gets hurt. That's unrealistic. There's risk and reward, but we love the game because you make a great finesse play, but there's a risk that somebody's going to try to take you out with a body check. That makes that skilled play really exemplified. If it's just all stick checking like we're seeing now, guy putting the puck through his legs, spinning around, head down, never thinks he's going to get hit. Oh yeah, it looks pretty, but there's no resistance. So to me, it's like if you started to play touch football in the NFL. Yeah, it'd be more skilled and more plays, but anyway.
Well, Chico, I think we're all unanimous that you should do everything to protect the goaltender. I mean, God forbid you get in the crease and knock him down.
Yeah. And, today they called, and this one hurt. We scored to make it 3-1 in the second, and then Casey Cizikas goes through the crease, and he with his right foot, he catches Dawes and sends him up in the air. And the rule is, if the goalie's in the crease and you're a skater skating around, you can't make contact with him if he's in the crease. If he's outside the crease and you're just forechecking or whatever and you catch his foot, fine. So they do protect it. Unfortunately for us, and guys, to me, that was one of the turning points. We didn't get a shot on that power play. We didn't get anything. And I thought, we scored. Now let's burn them with a second goal, and we'll put them on their heels going into the third. But, yeah.
Well, I thought Corey Schneider played pretty well first game.
Yeah.
First game back. I mean, I thought his career was over, a couple of years ago, but it's nice to see him just work his way back into a game,
Well, I like, there's another thing with that. I said that to Maddie. I said, okay, why haven't played all year, over a year? Now they're still feeling like they have a playoff spot, and you're putting Corey Schneider in. Now, he hasn't played for a year. And I'm thinking now, are you just doing that because we're going to say, well, we're going to be nice to you, Corey. We're going back to New Jersey. We'll give you a game. But Varlamov has won 4 in a row, coming off a shutout. This was a must game for them if they really do have hope to make the playoffs. And maybe they've kind of given up on that. Maybe they're saying, no, we still believe, but it's probably very improbable. So I'm thinking, did they play Corey Schneider? It'll be interesting. We can watch what unfolds here. Are they thinking we got to trade Varlamov in the offseason or a goalie? They've got 2 very good goalies. They don't have a lot of depth. They need some scoring. They need some draft picks. So are they saying, let's give Corey Schneider another chance here in some games, and if he looks really good, we can maybe count on him coming back and being the backup next year, and then we can trade one of the goalies, keep one and trade one and get something. because I don't know about you guys. Otherwise, it was strange that they chose to play him for one game, even though it's his old team. But you could risk losing, and you're trying to make it to the playoffs. So I just found that a little strange. So it's got to be one or the other. That maybe they think Corey Schneider could be the backup next year.
I was actually listening to you on the radio earlier when you said that live, and I kind of stopped and I was like, that's a excellent point, because it makes total sense. As you explain it, that it could be him trying out for a position on the team, or maybe even they, them trying to move him for picks. Like you never know. Like, if he gets
Yeah,
a game or two here, and they can say, hey, look, Corey Snyder, still a commodity, still someone that can get you some wins.
yeah,
We're not going to use him as a
yeah.
backup, but hey, you might want to use him. That could be their picks right there too.
That's a good point. Yeah, no, that's good, Jonathan. So anyway, it was just ironic, eh? Like he gets the win and he played well, and then
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Palmieri gets the game winner, and Zach Parise missed 4 glorious chances. And Andy Green actually played pretty well too. So it was just weird to see all those ex-Devils playing for the Islanders today.
I hate to ask, Chico, how's Jack doing?
I wish we knew. I just said in the post-game show, nobody knows. I got to tell you, when I looked at it again, and he came out and tried to skate, and his leg kind of gave out on him, okay? So when you see a knee injury, there's a couple of things that can happen. One, if you get hit on the inside of the knee, it can tear and damage the medial collateral, the ligament that's on the inside of the knee. Okay, that's not good. The worst case scenario, if you hit it straight on, you can blow out the anterior meaning the back ligament, which is the most dangerous of the injuries of the knee for hockey players. Then you're gone 6 months. So what I saw there was when Jack went out and skated and did his skate, he looked fine. And then when he was going off, he kind of lost his strength. And when I looked closely, it looked like the knee of Wahlstrom hit right on the shin pad knee of Jack. So I'm hoping it was some bruise to maybe where the hamstring attaches to the knee, or something that just was weak because of the blow, and it's no ligament damage. That's my hope. But until they go in and do the MRI or look at it, and they'll do that tonight, we don't know. And of course, they'd never guess, and I don't blame them. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I just, I'll just tell you honestly, I'm so fired up for Jack Hughes. I am so fired up, and he's playing so smart. He shoots now when he should. He the other night against the Florida, he's curling up the boards in the Florida end. He gets pushed down, loses the puck. They take the puck. He gets up, and I watched him. He back checked as hard, as fast as he could skate. He gets to center ice, and he pickpockets the Panther who took the puck after he lost it. He pickpockets, he turns and counterattacks, and he's got Thomas Tatar with him and makes a great pass, and Thomas goes in, misses the net. I'm not blaming Tatar. I just wish he would have scored, because it would have been like a highlight play. But my point is, Jack's going to get pushed down. He's going to lose the puck. But you guys watch him back check. Nobody on the Devils back checks any harder than Jack Hughes. I fall in love with that because, as you guys know, as a goalie, you're always wanting, come back and help, guys. Come back.
Oh yeah.
And he does that. The only thing that I will say, and I'm just projecting, I'm not trying to be a doomsdayer. If he was 6'2" and he was 6'3" like Austin Matthews, or maybe Connor McDavid at 6'2" and really thick up top and stuff, when Wallstrom tried to hit him, he might have said, okay, I got some bulk, I got power, I'm going to drive right through you. But what I see with Jack sometimes, because he is lighter, he tries to jump by a check. And when you try to jump by a check, you actually become more vulnerable. And that's just a little thing. And I'm not saying it's happening much less now than it did his first 2 years, but I just saw it reoccur in that play with Wallstrom, where if he had just kind of stayed, on his skates and just kind of got his shoulder and tried to drive through him, it might not happen. And I know I'm breaking this down really fine, but that's just one of the things that I guess I'll always worry about when Jack's going to be 175 pounds and he goes into traffic and he's dangling around and twisting and turning, and he's going to be caught in his body in some very vulnerable positions. And I just hope he he doesn't get injured, and unfortunately today he did.
Well, with Jack, I don't know if you've noticed this, Chico. I've been very observant this year. He's a quick learner, very quick learner. He's really cleaned up his game in the last 3 to 4 weeks. Because I was been very critical of some of these untimely turnovers in the neutral zone, or just the no look drop pass to nobody. And I can't even remember the last time I've seen a glaring turnover, with Jack, or unforced error, so to speak.
No, I mean, because he's still going to be a stick handler. Like, again, yesterday in Florida, not the play I just described, but there was another one where he got to the Florida's end, and he, again, was overhandling it. But here's the problem. If I say he's overhandling it, someone could say, yeah, but Chico, there's sometimes he seems to overhandle it and he beats that defender and makes a nice play. You know what I mean? So I can't pick and choose and say, well, that was a nice move, but then the next time he tries the same move and the defender gets lucky and knocks it off the stick, and say that's on Jack. But what happened is at the blue line when he turned it over, this kind of backs up what you're saying again, Sam, he turned and he back checked and he got back in our zone and broke up the pass across. That's where I'm seeing Jack is saying, okay, I got to figure out, sometimes I'm going to be in a high risk situation here. But if I turn it over, I got to be in position to go back and help out. I mean, there's always going to be risk and reward with skilled, nifty, stick handling players that they're going to turn the puck over. But you're right. He doesn't go into traffic, Sammy, anymore. He doesn't try those no-look passes. He shoots the puck. If you look at his goals, he's shooting the puck. He's saying, in the past, I might try to deke that defender and then I'll get around him but now he's saying, no, I'll use that defender as a screen. I'll use that defender as an asset, and he's shooting the puck and scoring. So you're right. He has changed his approach to the game, and you're right, Sammy. He is one quick learner, and he's really going to be. He's going to be terrific.
It's amazing when he changed because I think when he first came into the league, he was very timid. Always wanted to, he was pass first. But right now, he's so confident with his shot right now that he's shoot first, and it opens up everybody easily.
Absolutely, Sammy. And and I think it wasn't just that he was timid when he came in, but you're right about it. Was like, okay, like for let's say he's 19, and let's just say since he was 9. Okay, for 10 years, I have been able to beat anybody I want who's defending against me. Remember, his final year was against kids just out of high school, kids in the U.S. Junior League. Those guys weren't up to his caliber. He gets pushed into the NHL, where these guys are men with long reaches and experience. So he had to figure out, I can't make the same moves. I can't even begin to think I can create offense the way I did, 2 years ago in junior. And he's figured it out. And it's like you say now, Sammy, he's shooting instead of trying to make, a pass through somebody. And, I'm just so excited. It's like, last thing is we don't have to keep going. It's like Sharon Govich. When he scored 3 goals yesterday, they were all different. And it lifted my spirits that I think now, okay, I'll just say this. The way you build a team is you have top 6 forwards, okay? I truly believe we have 4 of them in place. Hughes, Heischer, Mercer, and Brett. Now we need 2 more. And I'm thinking, okay, is Sharon Govich going to be the 5th? Because it's in and out. Like today, I wished he would have done a little more off the hat trick game yesterday, but it's going to be a little inconsistent. But when he scored 3 goals yesterday, the way he did, I said in my mind, okay, he can be the 5th. So we're going to have 5 out of 6 top 6 forwards. We still need 1 more. Hopefully Alexander Holtz or somebody coming out of the cloud somewhere that emerges. But that's why I am so encouraged. Teams thrive on their top 6 forwards, and our oldest top 6 forward is only 23. We are in great shape there. And, so, yeah, a lot of good things are on the horizon, even though these last 3 games were just crushing losses in one way or another.
Well, Chico, thank you so much for taking the time out again.
Thank
because
you, Chico.
fans need to hear from you just a different perspective, because it looked all doom and gloom. I mean, Saturday's game, as what you guys said on air, just the fans were stunned, just absolutely stunned what had happened. And sometimes we just need to talk things out and talk ourselves from the ledge and know that the bigger picture, we're just one great goaltender away, and a lot of the things that we've described are correctable. These simple plays, and sometimes maybe this team is just overthinking it defensively, and some of the plays.
No, I don't think so, Sammy.
No.
I don't think the skills. I don't think the makeup's quite. But here's what we aren't. Not saying this to Maddie. Right now, yesterday was a great example. And Lindy, and I know the skaters were upset. But here's what we're not. We're not good enough to protect our goaltender when he's having an off night. We're just not. One day we might be. And the other thing we're not is our goaltending isn't good enough to protect the skaters when they're having an off night. Florida's had off nights, but Bobrovsky step up, or even like Tampa Bay or the Rangers, Shesterkin. Right now, we don't have a situation where either our overall skaters, forwards and defense, can just shut it down and protect the goalie, who they're saying he doesn't have his best stuff. But like yesterday, unfortunately, we didn't have a goalie that could cover up and clean up when the Panthers were just swarming on us in the third. But will that last forever? No. The skating group is going to get in a position, just like when we were winning cups. Some nights they won the game for Marty. Marty really didn't have to do much or whatever. Then other nights, team's not going, Marty could steal it. We're not there yet, but we're going to get there. And that's why I'm optimistic. And unfortunately, we are all impatient. All fans are. And we want it to happen now. But it's going to be an interesting off season. We have got to figure out and absolutely have a rock solid plan in place in our goaltending. Either it's going to be Mackenzie Blackwood, and hopefully he can come back and play some game. We got to know, Mackenzie, are you going to be our hope? Are you our go-to guy? And if you're not, we got to go get somebody else who can be that, because the goaltending has really hurt us this year. And that can't happen again next year. And that's all I have to say, boys.
Agreed. Well, Chico, thank you very much for coming on, and we'll hope to have you on soon.
Always a pleasure. Good job, Jonathan. See you, Sammy.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thanks, Chico.
Thank you, Chico.
That is Chico Resch, Devils Hockey Network, the infamous Chico Resch. I feel
great.
a lot better now. I feel a lot better now. We started this podcast like all like doom and gloom. The world's going to end, you know. And somehow your optimum got through.
Yeah, we're just about making. I know it froze a couple times there, but yeah, Chico's always got a good positive look, but he's also critical at the same time. Not not demeaningly critical, but constructively critical, and that's really what we need. And it seems like that things can be improved, and he's right. We are going in the right direction. We do have some awesome forwards, and it's I think anyone who's watched this team for more than 5 minutes this season knows that it's unfortunately goaltending is become one of our Achilles heels, where we're really used to great goaltending. So
yeah, and you know what? Sorry, folks, that we couldn't get to like some of the questions on YouTube Live and the Facebook Live. Appreciate some of the comments. Trash Panda, is it the coach, Chico? Asking questions. So we try to ask questions what you guys are asking and get some ideas. But sometimes it's tough when you're doing an interview with the great Chico Resch and reading all the comments at the same time. It can get difficult. Or we don't have Beer Baron and Scotty just taking over so we can look at it.
Yeah, right. No, but it's always good to hear Chico's analysis, and I wasn't kidding. His memory and his recall about specific plays and breaking them down, like essentially play by play. It's great, and I love that about him, and I love that he's our our color analysis still. Though he retired, we still have him on the radio, which as much as I love Dano and Kanji, I do love listening to Matt and Chico on the radio.
Oh yeah, Matt and Chico are great. It's just sometimes when we do this podcast, a lot of it is prep work, and we can't physically watch the game, so to speak. But I always have them on, and they've got great chemistry, and we're lucky to have both Matt and Chico, who are both friends of the podcast, by the way.
Yes,
they're not just like notable names. They're friends of the podcast as well. But great analysis. Shorts guy, thank you so much for double shifting today.
Hey, not
on
a
short
problem,
notice.
Sammy.
But this was a great interview, and thank you to Chico Resch. Thank you to all those listening in. Big week ahead. Lots of games, lots of action. Devils After Dark, Game Day Live. The Woo Report will be in full effect. And don't forget, State of the Fan Address with Nick Villano and I, pucksandpitchforks.com, 8:30 p.m. Eastern this Wednesday. This has been a quadruple header Sunday, and we're going to end this podcast right now because I'm already spent.
Yeah, me too. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, at least we did something productive today.
Yeah. I got some work done, got some podcasting in. It's all good.
Yeah. All right. Well, dropping the podcast at midnight. You got all sorts of podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeart app, Spotify, Amazon Music Prime, Audible. You can find us elsewhere on your morning commute. Thank you, Shorts Guy. Thank you, Chico Resch. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, let's go Devils.